Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gospel Driven. My name's Jalen. On this channel, I like to do Bible reviews. We do book reviews here, and we discuss things in the realm of Christianity. If that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell because that's how you get notified of my videos, and it just helps, I guess, the algorithm. Yeah. So on today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different, but also a little bit more fun than our standard Bible reviews. I wanted to do a Bible review tier list, um, basically ranking each Bible translation that I've read in a certain grade based on my opinion. Um, Now, when doing this kind of tier list, I know there are so many Bible translations that I actually have not read at all. So if you see when doing this tier list that you don't see a Bible translation that you read, please do not think that I think it's false or anything like that. It's just that I haven't read it. Um, when I was thinking about this video, I actually researched, looked at all the Bible translation, and there are more Bible translations that I haven't read than that I have, and that just goes to show how much I have to work with. So maybe when I have the chance to read a little bit more of these translations that I haven't read, I can make an updated tier list and make another video for that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this tier list. So I broke the tier list into brackets S through F. S obviously being like really good, like really, really good. F obviously being really, really bad. Now, I will say there won't be any like what I would consider a reliable translation in anything below a E. I mean, excuse me, in anything below a D. So E and F are probably going to be translations that I think are not reliable. So keep that in mind. But there are translations, however, that I do think do have some reliability that will end up in D tier. So I don't know. Lower your expectations or maybe increase them. I don't know. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get with the first one. I'm starting with S tier. So the first translation going in my S tier is going to be, if you didn't guess it already, the ESV, the English Standard Version. I have currently one, two, three. I have three ESV Bibles. I'm very partial to the ESV translation. That's the translation that I bought my first Bible ever in an ESV translation, and all the subsequently all the other Bibles that I purchased after that were ESV, and then I bought some NLTs and some other ones. But I love the ESV translation. Um, it's a word for word, but it reads very smoothly, and I definitely recommend it as like, when a word for word translation, you tend to think that it should be from more of a intermediate reader of the Bible, but it reads so smoothly that I think even like new converts could get into that translation and actually understand the text. Um, it has a modern yet kind of old feeling to the text. It does use a little bit more modern language, but still keeping that kind of traditional, that if that's the word, kind of feel to it. So ESV is going to be my first entry into the S tier. Now my next entry. This is the only other entry in the S tier, by the way. I might get some flack for this one, but I'm gonna put the NIV, the New International Version, in the S tier. I growing up in church. I grew up on two translations. I grew up on the KJV, and I grew up on the NIV. NIV is a really good translation. It's accurate. It reads really good. It's easy. It's no wonder why to me, it seems like a lot of new believers pick up the New International Version because it's just so easy to pick up and easy to read. and really comfortable with the text, really accurate at the same time. So this one is a little bit more, yeah, it's accurate and it's readable, but there's also some sentimental value, of course, with me because I grew up reading this translation primarily along with the KJV. So, yeah, there's a little bit of bias there too. So that's it for my S tier. So let's move into A tier. My first entry into the A tier is going to be the NKJV. Now, I grew up on the KJV, but, and I'm going to explain why, my reasons why I don't primarily use the KJV anymore. But the NKJV was like that translation that I kind of, after I didn't read the KJV for a while, I kind of got into the NKJV, and it kind of does what the NKJV, oh excuse me, what the KJV does right, but better. You know, the KJV has a lot of old traditional English language that people might not understand right away. The NKJV kind of modernizes it and makes it more easy to read. And it still has that, again, that kind of traditional kind of readability, you know. So I will put the NKJV at A tier for me. The other translation in A tier is going to be the NASB, the New American Standard Version. Um, I don't have a Bible in for that translation, but I have read it, a good amount of it. I kind of like it for the same reason that I like the ESV, but on top of that, it feels very academic when you read it. It makes me feel like a scholar, if that makes sense. Um, and yeah, I just really like it, so I put it in the A tier. So that's it. That's it for A tier. So moving on to B tier. I'm going to put the CSB, the Christian Standard Bible, in the B tier. This one is a little bit more newer on the scene. This is like the Southern Baptist translation. Um, it's a good translation. I mean, I can't knock it. Um, I really like it. It's one of the I do want the CSB Study Bible. That's like one of my that's like in my shopping cart on Amazon. I do want that Bible. So I was talking about the CSB translation. um, as I said before I made this edit, the CSB translation is like the Southern Baptist translation. Um, the reason I put it kind of in the B tier is because it's like the Southern Baptist translation. There are some times in, like you'll see in the CSB Study Bible, in kind of in places like Revelation in the study notes, there will be a little bit of a dispensational kind of take to kind of influence to, from the study notes onto the text a little bit. So for that reason, I put it in B. But for the text itself, the translation, the readability, the accuracy, it's a good translation. It's definitely I would recommend it. So that's for the CSB. My other translation in the B tier is going to be the NET, the New English Translation. I put this one in the B tier because it kind of gives me the academic feel of the NASB. The NET, especially a Bible that I really want, is the Full Notes Edition NET Study Bible. That's like on my list. The NET, speaking of its academic. Speaking of it being academic, yeah. Sorry, trying to find the words. Um, it really breaks down how words were translated from the ancient languages. So that's Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew, and how they were translated in the English. And you'll see in the Full Note Study Bible how words are translated, and it really goes really deep into that. And that's something I really like because I don't know any of those languages, so being able to see how they were translated can really help the reader understand the passage in whatever they're reading, Old Testament or New Testament. So that's why I put the NET in the B tier, and that's it for my B tier. So now we move on to C tier. Now, some people are going to give me flack for this one, definitely, because I know a lot of people love the KJV. KJV I put in C tier. Now, KJV is so near and dear to my heart, please believe me. Like I said, I grew up Southern Baptist. The CSB is a relatively new translation, so it didn't exist when I was a kid. It was KJV and then an NIV. KJV is so near and dear to my heart, guys. Like, I love the translation. I have a KJV. See if you can see that? That's the KJV Cross Reference Study Bible. And I had another KJV Bible. It was just a standard, Holy Bible that it was gray and had a big cross on it. I love this translation, but I have my gripes about it. What I don't really like is it's really, if you, I do not recommend the KJV for anybody who's a new convert because it's just so hard to read. And misunderstand. It seems like you can really easily misunderstand a passage because of certain words or phrases that you might think mean one thing, but it could actually mean something completely different. I think his name is Mark Ward on YouTube. He actually has a playlist on his channel um, going over the KJV's false friends, meaning a false friend is basically a word that we think when reading would mean one thing, but in actually means something completely different, and it can lead to you misunderstanding the text. He goes over all the KJV's false friends. So if you're like strictly KJV and you like no other translation, I'm sticking with my KJV. I would definitely encourage you to go watch. I believe his name is Mark Ward on YouTube, and he has a whole playlist. It's like 50 videos. KJV's false friends. Go watch that. In fact, even if you're not KJV only, but you still read the KJV translation, go watch that. It's definitely informative. It's definitely helped me. So yeah. So that's KJV. Moving on. Next one is going to be the AMP. So that's the Amplified Bible. I really like the AMP. It's probably my favorite out of all the um, paraphrase translation. I'm not. Yeah, I think it is paraphrase. It's either paraphrase or thought for thought, but I think it's paraphrase. It's probably my favorite out of all of them. It's another one kind of that I kind of grew up on a little bit. Um, my grandmother had a amplified study Bible, and I would read hers sometimes, and it was kind of like that Bible that you had that you would have next to the KJV. If something you didn't understand, you would go into the Amplified Bible and read it from there and kind of help you understand. And that's why I really kind of like it. It didn't make anything higher than C tier because all the Bibles I listed above it I think are better translations. So that's that. Now, the next one is the NLT. I like the NLT. Um, it's a good thought for thought translation. I don't really have any real qualms about it. I do know that there are some people who have issues with its reliability and question its reliability, but I haven't been presented any argument to suggest that it's not really a reliable translation. I have, where is it? There it goes. I have an NLT Bible. I definitely, yeah, yeah. So I have an NLT Bible and I use it. I really like this one. This is from Tyndale, just a standard, but it has this nice Celtic cross on it, so I really like it. But yeah, I don't really have. It's a good thought for thought translation. I definitely think CSB is a better translation for a thought for thought, but NLT is good. It's not like it's not gonna be like up there significantly, but for me, but it's a solid. It's solid. C means for solid. That's for me. C is solid. I should have renamed the C tier solid tier because all these translations are solid. They're just not extraordinary to me. But anyway, that's it for my C tier. Now we're getting into the D tier and stuff that is a little bit more dicey. So D tier, I'm gonna put the Message Bible in the D tier. Now, I do know that there are people who really do question the reliability of the Message Bible. Um, I know it's a paraphrase, but I definitely would not recommend the Message Bible to be your primary Bible at all. Um, Dizzy Disciple, because I would definitely encourage you, go read Genesis 1 out of the Message Bible and read Genesis 1 out of like a KJV or ESV. It's so different. It's so watered down. Dizzy Disciple on YouTube did a very good like analogy of this. He basically said something along the lines of, imagine you have a friend who went to go to the movies and they saw a movie and they come back and they tell you about the movie. But then you go tell someone else about the movie. You haven't seen the movie yourself, but you go tell them about the movie, basing what you tell them on what your friend told you, who actually did see the movie. If that's confusing, I'm sorry, but that's really how the message really is. It's it's almost like a dumbed down, really, 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 really dumbed down version. Um, if you really can't understand certain texts, then I guess it's okay. But it kind of feels more like a commentary than a translation, if that makes sense. But I know a lot of people love this Bible. I know a lot of people, love the translation, and I'm not knocking you for it. I don't have really any argument to suggest it's not reliable. So I'm not gonna focus on that too much. But I do not recommend the Message Bible, even for new converts. I would rather you have like a CSB or NLT than the Message for real. So that's it for the Message. Um, I'm gonna put the Jesus Bible in here. Now I know the Jesus Bible isn't really a translation. Well, it kind of is, because the Jesus Bible comes in like the NIV and other translations. But the Jesus Bible, as I guess an entity, I would not recommend. Kind of for the same reason for the Message. I just had to put that in there. I know it's not really a translation because it comes in translations, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I don't really like the Jesus Bible either for the same reasons. Now, we're gonna go into the E tier. Now, from the E tier to the F tier, these are translations that are completely sectarian, meaning they are outside of Orthodox Christianity. I'm not even gonna say in my opinion. I think these are widely accepted to be unorthodox translations. And for E tier, that would be the Passion Translation, for obvious reasons. The Passion Translation is completely unorthodox, and um, it has like, I'm not even gonna go super deep into it. It's just unorthodox for obvious reasons. Um, Dizzy Disciple, to mention him again, he made a video on the Passion Translation. You should watch it. I can't remember everything that was said, but it is a bad translation. It is completely sectarian. And typically, you should probably stay away from Bibles that only have one contributor, that there's only one person writing it. That's typically a red flag, seriously. So the Passion Translation just itself makes up my entire E tier. So moving on to the F tier, we have the Joseph Smith translation, for obvious reasons. I shouldn't have to really go into that one too deeply. And then you have the New World Translation, which is the translation for the Jehovah's Witness. Obviously, I don't have to explain these. These are unorthodox. These are, sectarian translations that are not the Word of God. So that's it. Clap it up. That's it for my tier list. Um, Let me know what I got right in your opinion and what I got wrong. I would love to hear some feedback. And I'm going to continue to read other translations. Like, I really want a LSB study Bible. I want a Good News Translation Bible. I want an RSV and an NRSV. So many translations that I really want to get into. So I definitely will. I would definitely be open to making an updated tier list for you guys on this one. So if you really like this video, if you like this, please like this video. Please share it, comment, give me some engagement, and I guess I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.